your city. Gonna play our guitars and sing you a country song. We'll all be flying higher than a jetliner. And if you want a little bang in your yin yang, come along.
That's right, come on along. Welcome aboard to Indiana Sports Beat Radio, coming to you, of course, from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios in Bloomington. Hope your Friday is ready to get going. Too late for not, because we're going to kickstart this baby. Hope you have had a great week, ready for the weekend. We're getting closer and closer to college football starting. It starts tomorrow night, really. Jake's at the wheel, keeping things on track. And I'm here, as always, Jim Coyle. On the program today, man, we have got a packed show. The Toddfather, Todd Leary, as always, joins us each and every Friday. Brew from Sports Illustrated Indiana is going to join us. We'll hear from Steve Aird. Kevin Brockway from CNHI. He's got a new article out about the facilities at IU. We'll be talking about that as well. We're going to hear from a lot of IU football coaches, players. Big news on for IU football. I got to get this pulled up. This is an awesome deal. If you haven't seen it, that's because you're smart. You're not on social media, but that's a whole nother discussion. But yesterday, Indiana was up at Lucas Oil Stadium doing a walkthrough as they prepare for next Saturday's season kickoff with Ball State. That's a noon game, by the way. But they were having a walkthrough up there and just going through the regular rigmarole of all that. And then as they were out on the field practicing kickoffs, a booming voice comes over the sound system there at Lucas Oil Stadium while they're on the field. And the guys are looking. Of course, you're missing the video portion of this, but I think you get the gist of it just by listening to the audio. And let's hear what it's had to say.
Boys, I hope you've had an incredible practice at Lucas Oil Stadium, the house that legends built. Obviously, there's a statue of Peyton Manning outside, but plenty of other men poured their blood, sweat, and tear into building the nicest stadium in the NFL, which is obviously the host to your game against Ball State, which leads me to this. Nate Snyder, I remember hearing about you a few years back. The kid from Center Grove who's got an absolute cannon of a leg. And you went to IU, got redshirted. You've been working for a few years. And your patience and your hard work is all going to pay off literally. I don't know if this has been said yet, but I got a little text, a little birdie delivered me a message. And it is that, Nate Snyder, congratulations, my brother. You are officially on full scholarship at Indiana University, the home of the Hoosiers. The work just begins now, brother. Go out there and have a good time, bomb some balls, and enjoy every moment of a free education. Cheers and congrats.
Wow, what a cool way to find out you're on scholarship. That was Pat McAfee, the former Indianapolis Colt. And man, coolest introduction. He's a badass anyway. You got to love McAfee. But what a great, unique way of doing that. I wish you could have seen the video because underneath with all that, if you could, I'm sure you could hear the background noise. That was the team. They're right on the field there at Lucas Oil. And as that's going on, they're mobbing around Nate Snyder, sharing that enjoyment with him. So what a great scene that was. A great day. Congratulations, Nate Snyder being put on scholarship by Coach Tom Allen at Indiana University. But, man, that was a cool deal. If you haven't seen that, you need to. It's pretty cool. You can find it on Twitter, of course. It's on mine, at Jim Coyle ISB, if you haven't found it. But, yeah, that was awesome. The Hoosiers will open up play, like I said, a week from Saturday against Ball State. This Saturday, college football kicks off. I think it's Florida and Miami going at it Saturday night at 7. But I'm not going to be there. I'm going to be out at Wilkinson Hall because Indiana volleyball also has the Cream and Crimson scrimmage Saturday night. Doors open 5:36 if you want to head out there. I think it's going to be a pretty daggone good crowd. But first 500, you scream, I scream, we all scream for ice cream. Coach Steve Aird is going to hand out free ice cream to the first 500 people that make that arrival there. So I would get in there, get your free ice cream, but also see some great volleyball. Bailey Lebo, she's a defensive specialist. And if you don't follow me on Twitter, you should. But anyway, talk to her about the upcoming season. She set record after record last year. We'll go over that after we hear from her. But this was Bailey Lebo.
It's definitely different, and the energy is crazy every day. We're expected to have crazy energy just like our coaches do. And the atmosphere is just unbelievable now. Like, people are on board. People want to come and see this. Like, we're trying to get people excited, and we're working hard every day to try and get there and get the fans excited and get everyone on board. It's definitely
on board, baby. Yeah, get them on board. Let's talk about special. She set an Indiana school record for single-season digs with 525 and a program record for single-season digs in Big Ten matches with 333. Pretty good. Nice to have her back. But looking forward to going out there and checking that out. But, of course, Indiana football right now, heading down the stretch of fall camp, waiting for the announcement of Michael Penix to be named starting quarterback. I'm saying that because I've got a bet. Buffalo's riding on this, baby. I got 2 bets. 2 Buffalo's dinners. I may eat them at the same time. I don't know. Nah, I'm going to spread them out. But, with heat and fatigue that accompanies a grueling football fall camp, a drop-off in performance is not unusual. Indiana's first-year offensive coordinator, Kalen DeBoer, says he knows what he's going to get from his Hoosier offense. And we know that that's going to be a great, great season as well. So, look, here's what Kalen DeBoer has to say.
Practice, I know what I'm going to get. I know I'm going to get the effort. I know I'm going to get, the execution to the highest level that they can. The plays that we've been running for quite a while, they're not taking those for granted. They're going out there and executing it, and they know they're going to get the defense's best every single day, and it's going to be competitive. But as far as we're just going about our business, going about our workload each and every day, and I just love the mindset we bring. And I know what we're going to get when we step on the football field every time.
There's new offensive coordinator Kalen DeBoer. Man, I cannot wait, especially after recent conversation that I had with defensive coordinator Kane Womack. I'd asked him, how does it help going against this offense? Because we talked about the quarterbacks the other day and how it really helped the receivers and how it helped each other to do that. But I asked him just overall, how's it help this defense? And he gave a great, great answer.
Significant improvement there. Probably on our side of the ball, that's probably the most improved unit from where we were a year ago. And I think that's saying a lot because of some of that young back-end talent. So just those guys they're working hard. Some guys that we just, you kind of identify, okay, Jerome Johnson, right? Jerome Johnson's a good football player. But then you identify about 4 or 5 guys that you're like, we really need them to come on. And if they do, we'll probably be in good shape. If they don't, right? Well,
if they do,
you're going to be playing a bunch. You know what I'm saying? So for us, having that has been really critical when most of those guys have kind of taken their game, probably exceeded our expectations.
Who are some of those 4 or 5 guys that you're seeing?
I'd say Lance Bryan is the first one to step out to me. He's playing at a very high level right now. He has become a guy from just somebody that executes, right, to now he's become a true playmaker for us. Obviously, DeMarcus Elliott coming in and owning that role in such a short amount of time has been really important for us. Trey Maurice, Shamar Jones, and then some of those young guys are really doing some good things.
That was defensive coordinator Kalen DeBoer. Kane Womack. That was the wrong clip. I'm going to blame Jake, but I played it, but I'm blaming him anyway. But actually, the one I was trying to play was, and I can't find it, was when I talked to him about how this offense has helped. But he talked more about, and actually that was a 2-pronged answer, which is great. And I can't believe I can't find that stupid thing. It's driving me nuts. I think I did. Yeah. So here's what when I asked Coach Womack about what playing against this offense, because I think this is going to be a prolific offense. I really do. And not because they've got a lot of talent, no doubt, but I think Kane Womack is just really going to subtly make big differences.
First off, right, there's two parts of that. One is the personnel, right, and then the other part is the scheme, right? So Kalen, what he does schematically has been phenomenal for us. Obviously, what it's going to be in the season, right, because we don't have to deal with it, other people do. But for us to be able to see all those different looks and the multiple.
Oh. Holy moly.
Multiplicity of what he's doing and the creative ways he gets to those things is just it's been phenomenal for us. It's changed us as a defense. Then the skill level of our wide receivers, our running backs, tight ends, I think, are probably the most improved position on the team, in my opinion, just looking from an outside in. And then obviously the dynamic quarterbacks, you know what I mean, and their arm talent. So for us, that part has been really good, but cannot overlook the scheme and what that's done for us defensively.
That was Kane Womack. Note to self, don't do two things at once. But yeah, that when he says a scheme, what he's talking about is the play calling. Basically, the play calling, how it's almost revolutionary for Indiana when you go back and look at last year. So it's like last year they were driving a Model T Ford. This year they're going to be driving a Porsche or Maserati or a very nice car. I think this is going to be a Maserati offense. I really do. I mean, I know that's throwing a lot of accolades there, but I just, as you watched last year, you just painfully watched. It's like, why did you call that? Which I know that there's always second guessing, and there'll be second guessing when they run something and it doesn't work. But no, not me. I'm not going to second guess Kalen DeBoer. I just really respect what he has done, what he's doing. I've watched. I see what he's doing with the offense. I see how he's incorporating different positions, the running back position, the tight end in different ways. He's going to keep defenses on their toes, man. He's going to keep them hopping. So I'm looking forward to that. But man, I'm glad Fele found that deal. He got the right one in there. But yeah, Todd, the Toddfather's on the show today. Hey, yeah, make sure you guys killed it with the text yesterday. It was awesome. Keep them coming. 812-269-6367. You got questions for Tom Brew, got questions for the Toddfather, Todd Leary, or even Kevin Brockway, who's coming up here in this hour. He's got a new article out about the facilities in Indiana. There's an arms race, and Illinois just completed like an $80 million football-only facility. The Big Ten money, that's what they're using it for, upgrading facilities. So, but is Indiana keeping up? That's the question. Is Indiana there? I know you've seen all the stuff lately, all the locker rooms and all that. All that stuff is private money. All that is donated money. It's not the Big Ten money. It's not the Big Ten network money that Indiana is cashing in on at $50 million a year. All this stuff you've been seeing, private money. The golf course, private money. Coming from individuals that are helping us. Where's that Big Ten money going at Indiana? Big question. We'll talk to Kevin about that. But the Toddfather's on today. Look forward to that as always. It is always a pleasure. Tom Brew with his, oh my gosh, Tom Brew's art. Did you see this? And when I saw he put this out yesterday, I was like, I cannot wait to talk about this tomorrow, meaning today. The chatter about which it was just idle talk. It's a non-story, first of all, because it was a throwaway comment by Babinski from Purdue, the athletic director Babinski from up at Purdue. That school to the north. That's what I should start calling them, that school to the north. But talked about, they had, talked about the possibility of moving the Purdue IU football game to Indianapolis. But logistically, it just is really not feasible. So it was a non-story. But because people like to make crap out of nothing, People started running with that. Why? I don't know. It's ridiculous. It's a non-freaking story. They looked at it, not feasible, not going to happen. Don't worry about it. And then people started weighing in. No, we don't want that. Which that's fine. I get it. No, I don't agree with it either. I think that should stay on campus. But it's a non-story. But it's just something for people to bitch and moan about, which people love nothing more than to bitch and moan. So, but they took it one step further. And Tom Brew wrote an article that he agrees with it, that he thinks it should. And I was like, yeah, right. I can't wait to see the response to that. And as I expected, it's 99% against. So we'll talk to Tom about that. He's gonna tell you that he thinks it's a good idea, and I'm gonna tell him it ain't. But looking forward to getting to all that today. The Toddfather, Kevin Brockway, Steve Aird, Tom Brew. We got it all coming on today, man. We got a lot more coming up here from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios. Jim Coyle here with Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Back with more right after this. Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
Now that warm weather has arrived, it's time to hit the links, and there's no better place than the Golf Club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. Voted best golf course by the readers of the Bloomington Herald-Times, the Golf Club at Eagle Point is under new ownership, has new fairways and bunkers, and it's open to the public. When the round's over, there's cold beer and a full menu at the Eagle Point Pub and Bistro. Call 812-824-1100 to make a tee time. That's 812-824-1100. The Golf Club at Eagle Point in Bloomington.
This is AJ Moye.
This is Dan Dockett.
Hey, this is Michael Lewis, former Indiana basketball player.
This is Indiana football coach Tom Allen.
This is Jim Coyle with the Indiana Sports Beat. You can always like and follow us on Facebook. Always follow the show rebroadcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. TheDailyHoosier.com is a great place to sign up for each and every day. Or, of course, on 97.7 The Ref in Evansville. For the best recycling and waste removal service, turn to the area's leader, Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling, a homegrown company serving southern Indiana since 1995. Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling serves Floyd, Clark, Harrison, and Washington counties. For excellent service and peace of mind, call Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling today at 812-944-5642. That's 812-944-5642. Keep life sweet with Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling.
I'm Rain Shaddy, and I'm a Hoosier. As a toddler, you could always find me running around in a cream and crimson onesie and a red IU hat reminiscent of those worn during the world-famous William Tell timeout, shouting, "Go Hoosiers!" Like many other alum, I chose to make Bloomington my home. As a civic and alumni leader, I have become very knowledgeable about our community and would love to share my insights with you as your realtor. Find me on Facebook or call or text me, Ryan Shaddy, with FC Tucker Bloomington Realtors at 765-623-9093.
This is former Hoosier basketball player Nick Zeisloff. Keep up with the Hoosiers on Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle.
Do not obey. You must be safe, but you can pass the test.
Welcome to the Indiana Sports Beat Radio, of course, coming to you from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios. Friday, August 23. This has possibly been the fastest year of my life. I can't believe it. it goes faster, folks. Looking forward to a great show today, as always. The Toddfather, Todd Leary, will be with us in the next hour. Tom Brew from Sports Illustrated Indiana Network. We'll hear from Steve Aird later. The volleyball program, they have their Cream and Crimson scrimmage Saturday night out at Wilkinson Hall, grand opening. Kind of the kickoff. It's not the first regular season game, but we're doing it anyway. Told you before, first 500 people, free ice cream. So that ought to be cool. A little sad note I need to pass along. Former Indiana football quarterback Babe Laufenberg, also Dallas Cowboys quarterback, was a backup to Troy Aikman in 1990. Later went on to become a very successful TV and radio, sports radio broadcaster down in Dallas. His son Luke passed away at 21 from cancer. Very sad to pass that along, but yeah, man, I saw a clip he'd put up that not too long ago. They were just working on his routes, and then the next thing you knew, he found out that he had a short time to live. But our thoughts and prayers with the Laufenberg family, former member of the Indiana football team. You got to go back. I think that was back around the era of Lee Corso, the Holiday Bowl. But our thoughts and wishes go out to those guys. But we've got Kevin Brockway joining us now from CNHI Papers. Kevin, how are you doing today?
Good morning.
How's it going?
It's it's going well. We're staying busy. Lots of stuff going on. Football. A little bit of basketball news, obviously, this week with the hiring of Mike Roberts, and it's going to be that time of year.
Yeah, I hadn't even mentioned that yet. I mean, we talked about it the last couple of days anyway, but Indiana made it official yesterday. The hiring of Mike Roberts, former player from the 2000s. But, and then, of course, you've got a big article coming out in regards to football facilities in the Big Ten.
Yeah, I had a chance to talk to several different people around the league and do some research, and I had a chance to talk to IU athletic director Fred Glass earlier this week. And I guess the big thing is when you look around the Big Ten, it seems like the standalone facilities are starting to be in vogue. Obviously, Purdue built its up the road in 2017, 112,000 square foot. Illinois just built one that opened this week for $79 million. And, get this, it's got, a weight room, sports medicine suites, and a player's lounge with a bowling alley, a game room, and a barbershop for the players. I mean, this is, unbelievable, but this is, what some of the Big Ten schools are doing with, combination of, private donations and the Big Ten network money it's the recruiting game. And I think it's rather interesting with regards to, what Indiana is doing to catch up. And obviously they opened the Talon Complex this week, which has a players lounge as well. So it's interesting because kids nowadays, they like these bells and whistles.
Yeah. And it seems like that you just mentioned that these programs are taking the Big Ten money and they're taking private donation money and putting them together and doing some great things. At Indiana, it seems like they're doing most things with private donation money. And
and no
so
question.
That begs the question, where's the Big Ten money going?
It's a good question, and it is, but you have to take a look in terms of not just the Big Ten money, it's a piece of the overall athletic budget, but it's not everything. And you have to take a look at ticket revenues too, which, IU is lagging behind, certainly other schools in the Big Ten. I think Michigan probably, makes more in one football weekend. I think it's somewhere in the neighborhood of $60 million than, IU might make in its 6-game schedule. So, but, there's also the argument you got to spend money to make money and, to elevate the program to that level and to get the best recruits. So it's an interesting dilemma, and it's certainly a bind that, I think Indiana's in because of, not maybe necessarily having the same football tradition as a lot of the other schools in the East, like Michigan, Ohio State, and Penn State.
Yeah, and that's a question that we'll have another day, a great discussion that we will have. I look forward to that soon because those are questions that they've been asked by some people. And the thing is, the answers aren't coming. But you bring up a good point. When you talk about the Michigans who has, they get 110,000 people every game. That's 3 games for Indiana to get to that point. Right now, I think that'll change soon, but it's never going to be 110,000. You've got Penn State; they get 100,000 a game. You got Ohio State; they get 100,000 a game. You've got Nebraska; they're close to that. Indiana's never going to have they only seat 55,000. So they're never going to have 100,000 people a game. So you're always going to be somewhat behind, but I don't think it has to be equal. I mean, I think a lot of that is just profit for those places, but it has to get to a point to where you're able to be competitive, which they are competitive now, but then you have to take that next step if you want to actually try to compete with these teams on the field. I think as Tom Allen has done a masterful job with his program. I talk about it every day here, but there's also limitations that he has because of facilities that we're talking about right now.
Yeah, and it is interesting though, because if you actually take a look at Indiana's football facilities, they do have a lot within Memorial Stadium, and they have, when Fred Glass did the enclosures in Memorial Stadium, he added facilities in there that are similar to standalone facilities that a lot of these schools have now. It's just a matter of it not being that eye-popping thing that's out there. And the other aspect of it, too, is while he added these facilities, weight room, wellness and nutrition centers within the stadium, and the Talon Complex being the last piece, a lot of the stuff besides the Talon Complex is shared with other athletes. And in talking to Fred about that, he said that's kind of a philosophy that he wants the athletes to be integrated, being together. But a lot of these other schools, the football complex is separate. The players are separate. They have their own space. So I'm sure that's probably used against Indiana in recruiting at times.
Yeah, I mean, I don't understand what's the reason.
No, I think the main thing is he wants the athletes
I don't understand
to
the reason.
be exposed to each other.
I understand that, but what's the
kind of be push each other and so forth, and that's kind of his reasoning.
So he wants the volleyball team pushing the football team?
That's his explanation. Then vice versa.
Okay.
He thinks it breeds competition.
Right. Okay. Well, good with that. But that's a good piece on it. It really opens up a lot of discussion. It opens up for a lot of questions. And I know you talked to there's Brian Davidson, he ran for a spot on the board of trustees on that platform that asking some of the questions that we're talking about right here.
Yeah, no question. I mean, and he's wondering where the Big Ten money is going. And, listen, certainly the global science building, I guess it was $26 million in Big Ten money going towards that, raised a lot of eyebrows. But other Big Ten schools are using Big Ten network money for academic projects as well, just not to the extent that IU is. And I think that's the issue, particularly with IU being a school that is behind in overall athletic revenue compared to some of the big boys. So it does raise some interesting issues with regards to that.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to talking about that issue in and of itself at another time, because that's a whole discussion we could probably do for the entire hour.
Yeah. Yeah, no question.
Also, what else was out of the article that you found most interesting?
No, I mean, I just think the extent that these schools are going to be able to, attract recruits.
Is it too much, Kevin? In doing that, did you find that sometimes it's just too much? I mean, you mentioned some of the things that Illinois has, like the bowling alley, which that's cool and all, but is that really necessary, or is that just a cool thing? We saw the LSU locker room open up not too long ago, and they got the sleep chambers and all that stuff. When is too much too much?
Yeah, that's a good question. But I think in the situation where you're trying to attract young men to college, is it too much? I think that raises the point. I mean, Northwestern $260 million for Northwestern, and you've got panoramic views of Lake Michigan. I mean, it's really beautiful. But a school like Northwestern, which really was in a similar boat to Indiana, maybe 10 or 20 years ago, didn't have the winning football tradition, is having to do that, to attract people. So it's like I said, I think that's the whole thing. It's nice to have those beautiful views of the lake, but it also comes down to football too. And I think to Tom Allen, let's give Tom Allen a tip of the cap in the fact that
I do every day.
Despite not having all these bells and whistles, he's still recruiting pretty well.
Yeah, I do it every day. That's why I continue to beat that drum. Tom Allen's doing a remarkable job. I mean, nothing short of remarkable. And if Tom Allen can get 8 wins this season, that's Coach of the Year material to me. That is Big Ten Coach of the Year. If you can take an Indiana team out of the Big Ten East and somehow manage to come up with 8 wins, that's Big Ten Coach of the Year.
Yeah, I think the question is, where are those 8 wins going to come from?
That's a whole nother story, man.
It'll be very difficult, but I think their first step is obviously a bowl game. But when you take a look at some of the teams on the schedule, maybe at home they can beat Northwestern. Maybe they can beat Michigan State up in East Lansing. I mean, that Ohio State, Michigan, and Penn State are just going to be really difficult. So those 3 right there, would be a major upset in either one of those 3 games. But I guess if you look at the remaining 9 games on the schedule, maybe you can win 7 or 8 of them.
There's not a. I'll be honest. This is going to sound disingenuous, but it's not. I don't think there's not a game on that schedule that if they won, I would just be unbelievably shocked because of what I've seen in fall camp, because of what I've seen from this team. I think they can play with anybody because they've shown it over the last couple of years. They've shown it that they can compete. They just haven't been able to finish. They've run out of steam. They've run out of depth. But we also saw them while they wanted. I think they lost 13-9. And it came down to almost one play. They competed. They competed against Penn State. They should have beat Penn State last year, but they have to go there this year. That's a tough environment. But then you get Michigan and Ohio State at home. The last 2 times Michigan has been here, those games have gone to overtime. We saw them take on Ohio State and be leading them into the third quarter. They can compete. So I'm not going to be crazy shocked, but it's going to be shocking to see them win one of those games, but not crazy shocked, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I think the one thing Tom is doing too, and Urban Meyer did this at Ohio State, which was very effective, is he's recruiting speed. He's recruiting speed and athleticism, and I think that can help in the Big Ten, which is, as I've discussed before, is firstly a slow conference where you have these big, kind of slower plotting teams. And I think particularly in the secondary, maybe not in the receiver position yet, although it's coming, but I think in the secondary and some of the running backs, certainly Cole Gass in particular, you've got some speed guys there. And if you can get on the edge and you can, defensively, I think this team has very good speed. And I think offensively it's kind of coming.
Absolutely, man. I'm looking forward to it. Kevin, thanks you a lot, man. Make sure you check out his articles in the CNHI papers, but they can also find you on Twitter where?
Oh, at Kevin Brockway, CNHI Indiana. So Kevin Brockway G1.
There you go, man. Looking forward to it. Have a great day. Happy Friday.
All right, thank you.
You bet. That's Kevin Brockway from CNHI Papers talking about the article he's got out in regards to facilities in the Big Ten. Lots of questions. Not a lot of answers coming, though. And we'll be slowly digging into that as we go. It is an arms race in the Big Ten, but that's because there's a great deal of infused money coming from the Big Ten network and the success thereof. But how schools are using that money, obviously very different, Indiana and other schools, but we'll look into that more. But we've got a lot more coming up here on Indiana Sports Beat. I got a lot of text into the show. We're going to get to those. Senior Ache texted in. Tim texted in. We're going to get to all those, baby. Back Lots more coming up from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios. Indiana Sports Speed Radio back with more right after this. Just move on up. Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
Now that warm weather has arrived, it's time to hit the links, and there's no better place than the Golf Club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. Voted best golf course by the readers of the Bloomington Herald-Times, the Golf Club at Eagle Point is under new ownership, has new fairways and bunkers, and it's open to the public. When the round's over, there's cold beer and a full menu at the Eagle Point Pub and Bistro. Call 812-824-1100 to make it tee time. That's 812-824-1100. The Golf Club at Eagle Point in Bloomington.
This is AJ Moye.
This is Dan Dockett.
Hey, this is Michael Lord, former Indiana basketball player.
This is Indiana football coach Tom Allen.
This is Jim Coyle with the Indiana Sports Beat. You can always like and follow us on Facebook. Always follow the show rebroadcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. TheDailyHoosier.com is a great place to sign up for each and every day. Or, of course, on 97.7 The Ref in Evansville. For the best recycling and waste removal service, turn to the area's leader, Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling, a homegrown company serving southern Indiana since 1995. Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling serves Floyd, Clark, Harrison, and Washington counties. For excellent service and peace of mind, call Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling today at 812-944-5642. That's 812-944-5642. Keep life sweet with Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling.
I'm Rain Shaddy, and I'm a Hoosier. As a toddler, you could always find me running around in a cream and crimson onesie and a red IU hat reminiscent of those worn during the world-famous William Tell timeout, shouting, "Go Hoosiers!" Like many other alum, I chose to make Bloomington my home. As a civic and alumni leader, I have become very knowledgeable about our community and would love to share my insights with you as your realtor. Find me on Facebook or call or text me, Ryan Shaddy, with FC Tucker Bloomington Realtors at 765-623-9093.
This is James Blackman Jr., former Indiana Hoosier. Make sure you're keeping up with the Hoosiers on Indiana Sports Beat.
Welcome back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios, Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Jake, sounds like you turned the lights down low. Got the mood music on. Great show already. Lots to get to. A lot of text into the show already. Senior Ache, Jim, do you know the latest injury update on IU basketball's Jerome Hunter? Gracias. De nada. There's not any information coming out, but I was having this discussion yesterday, as a matter of fact. The fact that there continues to be no news, in this case, I don't think that it is good news. You know, the old saying, "No news is good news." Yeah, I don't agree with that in this situation. I have nothing but an opinion, and so that's strictly speculation. So to answer the question, no official update, no news. But my expectations are very low on that situation. And I was I forget who I was talking to about that, but if it ends up being that way, that is just going to be just a horribly sad thing for Jerome. I saw this kid play in high school. a hell of an athlete, just a great ball player. And so that's the biggest thing that comes to my mind is how sad that would be for him if he can't continue his basketball career. It would just be horribly sad. He's a great athlete. I just remain hopeful, I guess, and that situation is resolved. It's not an injury; it's a condition, and he's already undergone one surgery for it, and all we can do is hope for the best. But it's kind of like you just go forward, and if something positive comes out of it, great. But if not, that would be just a horribly sad deal if he's not able to continue. But the minute we hear anything, of course, we'll keep you updated on that completely as edging closer towards the basketball season. Of course, big news there. Mike Roberts officially being named as an assistant coach for Archie Miller's staff. Question for your guest today. What is the best IU men's basketball game you have watched either in person or on TV? Mine was at home, IU versus Duke, Sweet 16, 2002. That's from Ryan, Whitmore Lake, Michigan. Ryan, I'm in complete agreement with you. I saw that yesterday they replayed the dunk of A.J. Moye on Carlos Boozer. I was in Rupp Arena, man, and I was talking with Mike DeCourcy yesterday on the show, and I was there as a fan at that game back in 2002 at Rupp Arena in Lexington, Kentucky, and gave myself a headache. I remember I had a headache afterwards from screaming, and I'm like, that's unusual, but that's the one thing that stood out about that game. And Todd Leary's on with us each and every Friday. He'll be with us today. If you get a chance, go back and listen to the end of the broadcast that he's on the call with Don Fisher, and he is just openly cheering for Indiana to make free throws. Come on and hit it. And I'm like going, man, that's not what you normally hear. But better if you could see it visually, if you could get a tape of the game, the CBS coverage, and if you could look and find them, he's up on a chair standing. I think he may have had 1 foot on the table, the sideline table, but that's. Boy, if there's going to be some different answers, and obviously so, because some too many great moments. But that game in 2002, Crocs checks a lot of boxes for a lot of people. I talked. Tommy Coverdale was on with us yesterday as well. Wow, so a lot of connections there. Tommy was on with us yesterday, and he gritted through that game. His ankle was just shredded, but he gritted it out and played a vital role in that. Thanks for the text, Ryan. Appreciate you listening up in Whitmore Lake, Michigan. Great to have listeners all over. Hoosiers everywhere, baby. We're coast to coast around the world, actually. But also, Tim texted in, all right, does Bob Knight show up for the IU Ball State game? No. To be honest with you, I don't even know where Bob Knight is. I don't think he's moved to Bloomington yet. There has been no news whatsoever of that. And as a matter of fact, it really makes me wonder. The fact that they printed his address in the paper, did that slow this down for some reason? Because I'm pretty certain he has not moved to Bloomington. I'm told that there's no one living in that home that he purchased. And it really makes me wonder, is it because they printed the address, knowing that it was going to become a freaking tourist destination? I still get pissed off when I think about that. And I get sick and tired of people, well, it's public record, blah. Yeah, it was. But how many people are going to go through the trouble? I'm a reporter, and I'm not going to go through the trouble of doing it. Because I don't care about riding by Bob Knight's house. So all you did was make it easy for all these looky-loos who want to do that, which there are thousands. Because reports are, there have been tons of people doing it already. And he doesn't even live there. So, got me off on a tangent already. Tim, daggone you. No, I'm just kidding. Call me crazy. This is from Tim as well. Call me crazy, but I predict this will be the first year ever IU beats Michigan, Michigan State, and Ohio State all the same season. Woo! Lofty predictions. Lofty predictions. Not impossible. Be crazy, but not impossible. I'm telling you. I've watched this team all fall camp. we got to see what this defense can do. I think this offense is going to be good. Tim also texting answering to Ryan's question. His favorite is tied with the 1987 championship game and Watford shot that beat Kentucky. Yeah, but great moments. Wow, a national championship, last second shot, and then of course kind of the reincarnation of the program with the Watt shot beating number 1 Kentucky in Assembly Hall. Only thing that disappoints me is Calipari. He didn't want Indiana coming into Rupp Arena with Cody Zeller and Victor Oladipo and stomping his ass, so he canceled the series. But those are some great moments there too, Tim. But great question. Keep the text coming, guys. 812-269-6367. Also, you can text those in anytime. If it's because I know a lot of people are not able to listen to us live. They listen to the show when it's rebroadcast as a podcast. And just, we're not a podcast. This isn't a radio show. So, nothing against podcasts because we rebroadcast as one. But just to keep that in mind. Something before I forget, man, I'm working on something really, really special that is, I think, going to be outstanding. Big Brothers and Big Sisters, Bloomington, but Big Brothers and Big Sisters, one of the greatest programs there is. Working on doing a game situation for these at 4 Indiana football games. That's what I'm starting with. 4 Indiana football games. We're going to get I'd like to do as many as we can, but we're getting tickets to take kids that are in this program to their first college football game, to their first experience of that nature. So if you know of anybody that, or if you possibly have tickets to a game that you're willing to relinquish, a minimum of 2, please, so we can, because there's going to be an adult with the child. But we're wanting to do this to these football games. If you have or know of anybody who has 2 tickets they're willing to supply to this, we're working through Big Brothers Big Sisters of Bloomington. We would be forever indebted. We will make sure that it is known where these tickets came from, unless you don't want that to be known. And we're looking forward to doing just a great day with these kids. Right down to a tailgate. We're going to have a tailgate for them. They're getting a full game day experience, man. There's been things in the past that have been awesome. Ticket deals, like for last year, they did a great thing for the NIT, getting people there that had never been to a game. Incredible. Great deal. I like this even more so because of who is actually benefiting. This is strictly for the kids of the Big Brothers Big Sisters program, just because that's where we're starting. It's just, you got to keep it narrowed down. But anyway, we greatly appreciate it. Spread the word. Tickets to a football game, because we're going to do this for at least 4 of these for sure. The only 2 games I'm leery of doing it, no pun intended, Todd, is the Michigan and Ohio State games, which are going to be here because they're going to be so crazy sold out, and it's going to be that would be an incredible environment, but I think it's going to be difficult to get tickets for those games. Not many people are going to give them up, even for a great cause like this. And I understand. Hey, I understand. That's because I think Indiana has a chance to win both of those games. But, man, help us out with that. We'd be greatly appreciative towards that, because we're looking to do some great things with that. We're going to start with the first home game. I think that's Eastern Illinois, right? There's a UConn. I can't remember. I don't have the schedule in front of me. But I believe it's Eastern Illinois. Of course, they kick off the season against Ball State next Saturday, a week from Saturday, up at Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis. Noon game. It'll be on Fox. But looking forward to see what the team's got, man. See what they're going to bust out. Todd Leary's on the show with us today, the Toddfather. Tom Brew from Sports Illustrated. Man, we're going to get into that article he's got out. If you didn't see that, check it out and read it. Text us, find about it. He put out Tom Brew on the Sports Illustrated Maven. Where is his address? His deal. I wrote that down somewhere. Maven Sports, MAVENsports.io/Indiana. Maven Sports. Maven owns Sports Illustrated. But he wrote an article that he's for having the Purdue-Indiana football game in Indianapolis. Terrible idea. Terrible idea. But we're looking forward to talking to him about that. Got a text in from Joker. I had an argument with a U of L fan before the Duke game of 2002 took place. I told him that if we got to play Duke, IU would win. Well, you were a brave dude because I would have never said that because I guess I'm not smart enough. Even when IU was down 17, I thought we would win. Again, I did not. I thought it was going to be 38 after that. Only time I wavered was with about a minute and a half to go. Duke had a long rebound of a missed three, which they got and put back in to hit a three. That put them up by 4 or 5. I thought, damn, that could be a dagger, but it wasn't. Let me tell you the time I thought they lost. When Indiana was up by 4 at the end of the game, and Dave Fife fouls the three-point shooter, and it goes in, and he's at the free throw line. And he missed the free throw. I'm like, what? No way. Crazy. That was a great game. That was. I mean, I wish I could go back to that moment. That was just pure unadulterated fun. Went on down to Atlanta for the Final Four, in which Indiana knocked off Oklahoma and Kelvin Sampson in the semifinal game, only to run up against a Maryland team that they just couldn't handle. But golly, can you imagine if they'd had our buddy Kirk Haston on that team? He should have been on that team. Reminiscing. Let's don't do that. But goes back to missing banners, man. That's a missing banner. Well, it's a book that Tom Brew and Terry Hutchins wrote. I'm in the process of reading that book right now, as a matter of fact. But it just, I don't like to read it because it just, I'm like, it drives me nuts when I think about those lost opportunities. Lost opportunities. Man, we got so much coming up on the show today. We've already had Kevin Brockway on. We're going to hear from Steve Aird in the next segment. But Tom Brew from the Maven Sports Illustrated Network is going to be with us. He wrote Missing Banners, but he's got that article out that I talked about. So if you haven't read that, if you do, you'll be firing the text in, I promise you. The Toddfather's on with us as well. We're getting a lot of comments in. I almost went too early because your devices like your phone and your computers, they're usually all on the same time because they're all hooked up to wherever the time's coming from in those deals. My phone and my computer are 2 minutes apart, and it really causes heck with the show because, you got to keep tight schedule, breaks and all that stuff. And I use my phone so much for stuff, and that's where I'm always looking at the clock. And then like just now when I was almost going to get out and look over at the computer and it's 2 minutes behind. So that's Jake's job to keep me on tab. But he likes to sit there and just drink coffee and put his feet up, falls asleep. No, just kidding. But a lot coming up here on the program today. Don't forget the volleyball scrimmage Saturday at Wilkinson Hall, kind of a big kickoff. Doors open 5:36. They're going to have a meet and greet before, too. I failed to mention that. So a meet and greet. All kinds of fun stuff, man. Fun stuff going on. Men's soccer is Saturday night. So they play, I think, DePaul. Speaking of soccer, women's soccer was down in Chapel Hill, North Carolina last night, taking on number 2 Tar Heels. Fortunately, it was a 3-love loss for the Hoosiers. That was Coach Edwin Van Bennekom's first game for Indiana. He's from the Netherlands. He's ready to infuse some European soccer style into this women's program, help them raise it up. But I'll tell you, that doesn't sound like a bad opening game. I know it's a loss, and the losses are never good. It was basically a 2-0 game for most of it. They got that garbage goal at the end. But, I don't know, 2-0 to the number 2 team in the country for a program that is probably a top 50 program right now, don't sound too bad to me. So hopefully that's a sign of good things to come. But we'll see. Well, hopefully that because it's always hard. But lots more coming up. Stay with us here on Indiana Sports Beat Radio. We're coming to you from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios. Back with more right after this.
Slip your butt to the fix of this mix. Toss that briefcase, it's time to let loose. Because you work like heck to get the weekend check. So unfasten that sleeper on your neck. Connected like a vibe from the wheel to the foot. Come on, everybody.
Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
Now that warm weather has arrived, it's time to hit the links, and there's no better place than the golf club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. Voted best golf course by the readers of the Bloomington Herald-Times, the golf club at Eagle Point is under new ownership, has new fairways and bunkers, and it's open to the public. When the round's over, there's cold beer and a full menu at the Eagle Point Pub and Bistro. Call 812-824-1100 to make it tea time. That's 812-824-1100. The golf club at Eagle Point in Bloomington.
This is AJ Moye.
This is Dan Dockett.
Hey, this is Michael Lord, former Indiana basketball player.
This is Indiana football coach Tom Allen.
This is Jim Coyle with the Indiana Sports Beat. You can always like and follow us on Facebook. Always follow the show rebroadcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. TheDailyHoosier.com is a great place to sign up for each and every day, or, of course, on 97.7 The Ref in Evansville. For the best recycling and waste removal service, turn to the area's leader, Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling, a homegrown company serving southern Indiana since 1995. Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling serves Floyd, Clark, Harrison, and Washington counties. For excellent service and peace of mind, call Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling today at 812-944-5642. That's 812-944-5642. Keep life sweet with Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling.
I'm Rain Shaddy, and I'm a Hoosier. As a toddler, you could always find me running around in a cream and crimson onesie and a red IU hat reminiscent of those worn during the world-famous William Tell timeout, shouting, "Go Hoosiers!" Like many other alum, I chose to make Bloomington my home. As a civic and alumni leader, I have become very knowledgeable about our community and would love to share my insights with you as your realtor. Find me on Facebook or call or text me, Ryan Shaddy, with FC Tucker Bloomington Realtors at 765-623-9093.
Hey, this is Jordan Halls, former Indiana Hoosier. Keep up with Indiana sports on Indiana Sports Beat.
This hour is brought to you by Sweetland Waste and Removal Service, a homegrown company serving southern Indiana since 1995.
Well, we're coming to your city. Gonna play our guitars and sing you a country song. We'll all be flying higher than a jetliner. And if you want a little bang in your yin yang, come along.
Come on along. Welcome aboard Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Of course, coming to you from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios here in Bloomington on this beautiful Friday, August 23rd. Not really beautiful. It's pretty overcast out there, but that's okay. It's always beautiful in Bloomington, right? Welcome aboard. Thanks a lot for joining us on the program today. The Toddfather, Todd Leary. He's on with us each and every Friday. Look forward to talking to him. Tom Brew from the Sports Illustrated Maven platform for Indiana. Join us. Man, he's got an article out right now that's causing a little – he's getting some reaction. The discussion – and that wasn't even a discussion. It's a non-story. It's a non-starter. There's nothing to it. That school up to the north, the athletic director Babinski was on a radio program and just mentioned that there had been talks previously of how to add spice to the Purdue football game situation. First of all, what spice do they need to add? It's a freaking rivalry game. I didn't know they needed spice. Is it because it doesn't always sell out? That has nothing to do with anything other than the quality of the teams on the field, boys, girls, folks. That's a simple deal there. So I don't understand why people just can't use common sense. You put good teams on that field every time, place is going to sell out. I don't care where you play it. You can plant in Terre Haute for all that matters. It's irrelevant. But anyway, because people like to make something out of nothing all the time, even though Babinski had said that we had the discussions, but, logistically it just won't work with all the season ticket holders, home field and all that stuff. So it's, not an issue. But because people like to make stuff out of nothing, it's become this discussion. Tom had an article came out that he agreed with that, and so he created a little firestorm. Look forward to talking to him about that. But also volleyball scrimmage Saturday night, Wilkinson Hall, kicking things off. First 500 people. Ice cream. You scream, I scream. We're all scream for ice cream. Perfect. Bailey Lebo is a defensive specialist for the Hoosiers, and
It's definitely different.
man, I hate doing this stuff myself. Talk to her about, she had a spectacular season last year. Set Indiana records, team records in several categories, but she's a defensive with digs and all that. Asked her about this season, see what she had to say.
It's definitely different, and the energy is crazy every day. We're expected to have crazy energy just like our coaches do. And the atmosphere is just unbelievable now. Like, people are on board. People want to come and see this. Like, we're trying to get people excited, and we're working hard every day to try and get there and get the fans excited and get everyone on board. It's definitely
that was Bailey Lebo. I think she's from LaPorte, Indiana, up north a little bit. Looking forward to that. Also, a lot of the football program, they were up in Indianapolis yesterday. One of the favorite things that I've seen in a minute. It was just a cool deal. You ever seen how different teams, when they offer a kid a scholarship, different ways of doing that? Indiana had probably the best I've seen. They were up in Lucas Oil going through walkthroughs, and they're out on the field, they're going through a kickoff drills, and all of a sudden his booming voice comes over the up on the Jumbotron and through the loudspeaker. Let's hear what that was. This is actually Pat McAfee, a former Colt.
Boys, I hope you've had an incredible practice at Lucas Oil Stadium, the house that legends built. Obviously, there's a statue of Peyton Manning outside, but plenty of other men poured their blood, sweat, and tear into building the nicest stadium in the NFL, which is obviously the host to your game against Ball State, which leads me to this. Nate Snyder, I remember hearing about you a few years back. The kid from Center Grove who's got an absolute cannon of a leg. And you went to IU, got redshirted. You've been working for a few years. And your patience and your hard work is all going to pay off literally. I don't know if this has been said yet, but I got a little text, a little birdie delivered me a message. And it is that, Nate Snyder, congratulations, my brother. You are officially on full scholarship at Indiana University, the home of the Hoosiers. The work just begins now, brother. Go out there and have a good time, bomb some balls, and enjoy every moment of a free education. Cheers and congrats.
What a cool deal that was, man. Pat McAfee is just a badass. If you see the video, go on Twitter, watch the video. I think he's laying on the ground on his back or something when he's cutting that. It looks like there's just a pillow under his head, and to hear that boomed over. I can't imagine how cool that was to be in Lucas Oil when that happened. But just that it was like the voice of God coming down or something. But what a cool deal! Congratulations to Nate Snyder being put on scholarship by Coach Tom Allen and the Indiana football program. Very, very cool deal, man. It was just a very, very awesome thing to see. Also, we talked about, I talked about the volleyball program and this connection they have to greatness before them. Their only All-American is Ashley Benson. That's the daughter of Kent Benson from Indiana's famed 75, 76 teams, the team that went undefeated in 76. But there's also on this year's team, there's so much more You got connections to Bob Knight, Indiana basketball. There's connections to Judd Heathcote. There's connections to the Fab Five. One of the kids' dad played on the Fab Five. One played for Judd Heathcote. Couple of them played for Bob Knight. There's even more. I think Emily Fitzger's mom played for Stanford. The just championship pedigree. And those are the kind of athletes that Steve Aird's bringing in. But he had a good little – when I met with him the other day in his office and talked to him, great little line he had.
I think not to be overlooked. I mean, so many when the families are around it, you've got great families and great people. The apple doesn't fall far, So these kids are hardworking, good people, come early, stay late, do things the right way, good teammates. We got a few who played for Coach Knight when he was coaching here, and the dads, they go about it the right way. They're hardworking, good people, great families, great kids, and in any organization, company, hotel, restaurant, whatever you're building, you better have good people around you in order to do it. I think
exactly good people. Build it with good people, but exactly what he said. It doesn't matter what you're talking about. If you're talking about a team, an athletic team, or a business team, good people. Great point. But that's Coach Steve Aird, and volleyball scrimmage gets underway Saturday night. Cream and Crimson scrimmage at Wilkinson Hall. Big event going on out there. They've got a meet and greet. I think it's 6, so cool for the kids. They can hang out, do that stuff. Men's soccer has a game Saturday night at Armstrong Stadium as well. Women's soccer team men played DePaul, by the way. I think that's at 8 o'clock. Late game, man. Golly, soccer lasts, 3 hours, 2.5 hours? Whew. Be a late nighter. May have to walk back and forth a little bit. But also, football kicks off Saturday, so I got to be at Buffalo Louie's to eat some wings, watch some football too. So I'm torn. The women's soccer program was down in Chapel Hill last night, opened up their season. I can't remember if I've talked about that in this segment or not already, Jake. Keep me online. I get so excited today. It's been such an incredible program. Perfect. The women's soccer team was down in Chapel Hill taking on the number 2 Tar Heels last night. It did not work out like they had hoped. Edwin Van Bennekom in his first game as a coach for the Hoosiers. But, I got to tell you, that was mostly a 2-0 game. They got a garbage goal at the end. But for a team that's just maybe a top 50 program right now that's working to raise up, not a bad showing against the number 2 team in the country over a program that has been set for years. He seemed happy with the performance he got, so hopefully that things continue and move forward for those guys. But we'll keep track of we keep track of the Hoosiers in every way, man. Nobody gives the comprehensive club coverage of Indiana like Indiana Sports Beat Radio does. We're everywhere. And don't want to forget this. If I talked about Big Brothers this segment, Jake, yeah, I don't want to get going so much, man. I can't keep it straight, but working on a great thing with Big Brothers Big Sisters. Tickets, football tickets. You got some? Donate them. 2 tickets. We're putting together a program. We're going to make a great game day experience for some kids in the Big Brothers Big Sisters program. At least 4 games. We're going to do it for Illinois, Eastern Illinois, UConn, the 2 non-conference games at home. Also the Rutgers and the Northwestern home games. I'm leery of the other 2 because I don't think anybody's going to give up their tickets, and I understand completely. But those are the 4 games we're going to focus on. Got tickets? Know of anybody that's got tickets? Help us out. We're going to bring a kid and their guardian to probably their first college football game. Great experience. We're going to do a tailgate. We're giving them the whole experience, man. We want them to have some fun, enjoy Indiana athletics, and just have a great day. So if you can help us out, know anybody can help us out, appreciate it. Shoot me a text, 812-269-6367. Hit me up on Twitter, at Jim Coyle ISB. My deal's open. You can message me. However, there's just a myriad of ways you can reach me. I'm easy to find. So we'd greatly appreciate that. Archie Miller is going to be this Tuesday. If you're in the Evansville area, for our listeners on WREF down there in Evansville, 97.7 The Ref, Archie's going to be down in Evansville on Tuesday, speaking at the Shoulders Family Commons area at Evansville Harrison High School. I believe the doors open there at 5:30 Central Time. That's 6:30 to you and me. Just kidding. But 5:30 down there in Evansville, Archie Miller. Kind of timing. I don't know if he's going to meet with the media prior to then, and in regards to his newest assistant coach, Mike Roberts, who was officially announced yesterday in that position. So, but we'll be there. Complete coverage, of course. Indiana Sports Beat Radio. We're everywhere, man. The Hoosiers are there. We're there covering it for you. But if you're in the Evansville area, it's a great opportunity for you to go out and hear what Archie Miller's got to say about the upcoming season as we get closer and closer to that. Looking forward to it. A sad note before I forget, the 21-year-old son of Babe Laufenberg, former quarterback here at Indiana. He's a former quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys, was a backup to Troy Aikman in 1990. His son Luke passed away after a battle with cancer. He was set to be a tight end for the UTEP Miners, University of Texas, El Paso. But our thoughts and prayers go out to the Laufenberg family. I've got a daughter, and it's hard to. He had a tweet up on Twitter that where he's throwing passes to his son, and it wrecks your heart. But man, thoughts and prayers out to the Laufenberg family. Just a sad deal, but. A great member of the IU football family, Babe Laufenberg. But we got a lot more coming up here on Indiana Sports Beat Radio, of course. Tom Brew from Sports Illustrated Maven is going to join us next. We're going to give him hell about this article, man. We'll be back with more from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios right after this.
Take this message to my brother.
Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
Now that warm weather has arrived, it's time to hit the links, and there's no better place than the Golf Club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. Voted best golf course by the readers of the Bloomington Herald-Times, the Golf Club at Eagle Point is under new ownership, has new fairways and bunkers, and it's open to the public. When the round's over, there's cold beer and a full menu at the Eagle Point Pub and Bistro. Call 812-824-1100 to make a tee time. That's 812-824-1100. The Golf Club at Eagle Point in Bloomington.
This is AJ Moye.
This is Dan Dockett.
Hey, this is Michael Lord, former Indiana basketball player.
This is Indiana football coach Tom Allen.
This is Jim Coyle with Indiana Sports Beat. You can always like and follow us on Facebook. Always follow the show rebroadcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. TheDailyHoosier.com is a great place to sign up for each and every day, or, of course, on 97.7 The Ref in Evansville. For the best recycling and waste removal service, turn to the area's leader, Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling, a homegrown company serving southern Indiana since 1995. Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling serves Floyd, Clark, Harrison, and Washington counties. For excellent service and peace of mind, call Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling today at 812-944-5642. That's 812-944-5642. Keep life sweet with Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling.
I'm Rain Shaddy, and I'm a Hoosier. As a toddler, you could always find me running around in a cream and crimson onesie and a red IU hat reminiscent of those worn during the world-famous William Tell timeout, shouting, "Go Hoosiers!" Like many other alum, I chose to make Bloomington my home. As a civic and alumni leader, I have become very knowledgeable about our community and would love to share my insights with you as your realtor. Find me on Facebook or call or text me, Ryan Shaddy, with FC Tucker Bloomington Realtors at 765-623-9093.
This is former Hoosier basketball player Nick Zeisloff. Keep up with the Hoosiers on Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle.
Today's guest is brought to you by Reynolds Family Dentistry of Sellersburg. You need $1 million smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you'll get with Reynolds Family Dentistry. Well, it's hard not to sing along with that. Welcome back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios, Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Jim Coyle with you, as always, here on this Friday, August 23rd, man. You're just sliding away, but that's okay. We're heading towards football season. Speaking of football, Tom Brew from the Sports Illustrated Maven Indiana Network with us now. Tom, how are you, man?
I'm doing great, Jim. How are you today? Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. Man, oh, man, did you open a can of worms yesterday, huh?
Yes, I did. A lot of negative response to what I wrote, but that's okay. I didn't write it to incite negativity, but I always like people's opinions, and people are more than happy to disagree with me. And the only people I gave a hard time to are the people who criticized me without reading the story. So
yeah, doesn't that drive you nuts?
A few people who, once they read it, agreed with some of my points, but not all of them. But that's okay.
Yeah, that drives me absolutely insane. I do the same thing. We repost the show on social media for people to see, and all the time I see comments, and I'm like, going, dude, did you freaking listen? Listen before you open your mouth, and just that. Exactly. But anyway. But I've been talking about it earlier in the show that and actually it was not really an issue, but Babinski, the athletic director from that school up north, made a comment about looking for ways to add spice to the rivalry game between Indiana and that school. But first of all, I'm like, you put good enough programs on the field, I don't think you have to worry about that. But there was talk of that they were looking at potentially moving it to Indianapolis, and there was a lot of I didn't see anybody else on the Indiana side really that was in favor for it, but a lot of stormed that. But you made some points in your article, and what are some of those reasons for the listening audience that may not have been able to read that article yet? And you can find him at Tom Brew Sports on Twitter, as well as at mavensports.io/Indiana.
Yes, I mean I made several points, but the biggest one for me is that once they went to a 12-game schedule and they moved the bucket game to the Saturday after Thanksgiving instead of the Saturday before, I mean, Bloomington and West Lafayette on the Saturday after Thanksgiving are kind of ghost towns. I mean, any student who's close to home at all likes to go home for Thanksgiving and all that stuff. So it's not quite the same as it was before, would have been like before. And a lot of those people live in the Metro Indianapolis area. I mean, obviously Metro Indy is still the largest base for IU graduates and Purdue graduates and students as well. So it's to play a game there where half of the stadium is full of red and white and the other half is full of black and gold, and the tailgating and all that would go on. It just reminds me a lot of what like the old Indiana Kentucky basketball games were like, and everybody loved those. And it's just it would be a really fun atmosphere. And plus, what I like about it most, and the reason I brought it up, is because people in Indiana don't have any experience with stuff like that, but I do. I've been, for my days as a sports writer and a fan in Florida, I've been to a lot of Florida to Georgia games in Jacksonville, and both fan bases absolutely love playing there every year. And I've had the luxury of being at the Texas-Oklahoma game in Dallas once before, and I've been to neutral site games, Alabama, Florida State, Alabama, Michigan Florida, Michigan a few years ago. I've been to those, and they're fun where you've got a stadium half full of one side and half full of the other. And, for a change of pace, it would be a good thing. And, for 30,000 Indiana fans, you'd get to go every year instead of every other year at a home game.
Absolutely. And of course, it wouldn't be any fun if I didn't take the opposing side. But so,
of course, I mean, I would expect people to disagree with me.
So I guess I got to look at. There's nothing better though than beating your rival in your home stadium, kicking their ass, and sending them back home with their tail between their legs, and you celebrating at home. I understand what you're saying about the holiday portion of it, but
wouldn't it be? But let me give you my counterpoint then. Wouldn't it be? Imagine Indiana beating Purdue in Lucas Oil Stadium, where you could rub it into 30,000 Purdue fans right there on the spot. Wouldn't that be fun too?
Yeah, there would. I don't think it matters where it is. It would. People would enjoy it, and people would go. Half of it is people just like to bitch just to bitch. That's half of the argument. I will promise you that's the answer to that. And then there's the other half is legitimately, I agree. I understand that. Hey, no, we want to kick their butt in our stadium. We want to see them look around here at Indiana and see the cream and crimson and then have to leave that big L and vice versa. I'm sure that they want to do the same, especially with the people, the spending the money that's being spent now in these facilities. They want to use them as much as they can.
Right, it was just fine, but I can agree with that. But it's like this year. I mean, if this Indiana football season goes the way we hope, and there's a lot of excitement for it, when Indiana plays Purdue and West Lafayette this year, there maybe is going to be 5,000 Indiana fans there, and that's it. Because the Purdue fans are going to buy all their tickets too, because so you miss out on that, and that's sort of the. And I'm not saying it's my way or the highway on this thing. I just like my opinion from having been there for things like that is it is a fun thing and it is enjoyable to have a half and half type atmosphere, especially if it's a game that matters.
It's been a fun discussion no matter what, but
absolutely.
If you haven't read
it's running about 90% to 10% that I'm an idiot. So it's and that I'm good with
that. News on the basketball side of things that Indiana finally makes it official that Archie's new assistant coach is going to be Mike Roberts, a former player coming up from the University of North Carolina at Greensboro. Had Tom Coverdale on, his former roommate, on yesterday talking about him. And, one of the things that I came away with it is, if nothing else, he's going to bring some grit to this team. And because that's something I haven't seen under Archie Miller. These teams have just not been a fighter. They just it's been very lackadaisical in my mind, and I think that they need an infusion. Maybe that's going to help there in that way. And a lot of people were expecting. I don't know what they were expecting, to be honest with you, but this is the situation. This is where it is, and so you got Mike Roberts.
Yeah, and there's two things in play there that I do like is. One, everybody always says, we love our Indiana guys, so he is an Indiana guy. So check that box. And two, from everything that I've known about Mike during his coaching career so far is that nobody outworks him. And, and that's what we need. And like you said, that, if he can add some grit and some toughness to that, because I think a lot of that comes with, when you've got someone who's got Indiana ties, he can share with these kids a little bit better what it means to play at Indiana, and that what's going on is not acceptable and it needs to change and get better. And those are all good things. It's like, is Mike Roberts a difference in winning 2 or 3 extra games? I don't know about that, but I mean, it's always, from everything I've seen and heard about Mike, everybody likes him and he loves to work hard and he loves to recruit. And he loves helping kids get better, and we need all those things. So, I'm happy with it, and you get him on staff, and let's get working. And basketball season can't get here soon enough, as far as I'm concerned.
Prior, Archie hasn't really shown that he was wanting to forge his own path, which is I have no problem with that, understandable. And so you get Mike Roberts though, and to be honest, being full disclosure, he wasn't the first choice. They were turned down by somebody. So, but in going back then, and the fact that he was at least 1 year under Bob Knight as a grad assistant, but adding that connection to the fact, is that something that's kind of, do you see it as a saving face move in any way?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I really don't think it matters. I mean, spending a year with Coach Knight as a GA doesn't matter to me one bit in this. I mean, it's just that was 1 year of his learning process as a coach, and that's fine. I mean, it's like no one, even the most loyal of IU fans who've been around forever, would say that Mike Roberts is a Bob Knight protege. I mean, no one would go that far. It's so past tense and it's so long ago. It's like, to me, it matters more that he's in Indiana. That he knows what it's like to slide on that jersey where it has Indiana across his chest. That means more to me than it does that he spent a year with Coach Knight at Texas Tech.
Absolutely. Come up, and of course, Indiana football, they're a week away from kickoff up at Lucas Oil Stadium. They take on the Ball State Cardinals. But yesterday, one of the coolest things I've seen, you always see when guys get put on scholarship that are already on the team, and they make a big deal out of it because they've been basically a walk-on up till that point. So to earn a scholarship is a very, very special thing. They always try to make it special. Yesterday's with Indiana was probably the best I've ever seen in that regard. I don't know if you got to see that up at Lucas Oil. They had Pat McAfee do this thing over the Jumbotron, and it was just a really, really cool deal.
Yeah, I did not. I was not there yesterday to see all that, but I've watched it, through the media stuff, and it was great. And it's great for the kid when that happens. But I tell you what, it's even better for the parents who you don't have to write any checks anymore. So it's a wonderful thing. And getting a full ride is, being a part of a football program is one thing, but getting your education paid for this year is even better. So it's it all comes down to a lot of these families, especially too. I mean, that's the difference between having to get a home equity loan to pay for things or having to borrow money to get your kid through school, and now all of a sudden that's paid for. It's a huge, beautiful thing. So.
Also, you're working on a new story or set of stories.
I am. I'm
process of that.
I am down in beautiful Clearwater, Florida right now, working on a story. There's actually going to be 4 stories that launch starting on Sunday morning on my mavensports.io/Indiana site. And it's all a big special report on this Florida pipeline in recruiting that has just helped Indiana, turn the corner in recruiting a little bit. And I mean, their rankings the last 2 years have been as high as they've ever been. They've jumped in the team rankings by 13 and 2 years in a row. There's 25 kids now on this roster from Florida, and I'm taking a good hard look as to how that's happened. And the first of 4 stories will launch Sunday, and the headline to that is relationships, and it's all about what Tom Allen and his coaching staff has done to make inroads in Florida, and and to bring some real quality kids up to Bloomington from Florida. So we'll be there. That starts Sunday. Monday is a big, huge piece on Michael Penix Jr., who's from Tampa here, on his journey as to how he got to Indiana. I'm excited for later today. I'll be over at his high school here in a couple of hours and get a chance to sit down with his parents tonight. I'm looking forward to all of that. And then Wednesday, we're going to look at sort of how these Florida players, come to Bloomington and get settled and help each other out and deal with everything. And with a big focus there on Raekwon Jones and his mother and everything they've been through with the hurricane and how everybody rallied around him. And, there's a whole lot of talk just about when kids are coming up for recruiting visits, how important it is for those other Florida kids to already be there and parents to be around. And then the last part of the story is just how impressed a lot of these Florida high school coaches are with what Indiana's been doing. And I was at Clearwater Academy this morning. We've got 2 of their kids on Indiana's team right now. And I'll let you pronounce CEO's last name since I'm still butchering it.
Todd.
Yep, the freshman defensive lineman who's been a standout in camp. Then they've got the freshman linebacker that everybody loves so far, the Bonham kid. And then we've got a third kid who's made it from that school who's committed for next year. And I was just told by their coach that Mike Hart offered a scholarship to one of their kids last night, and that kid will be making that announcement later today that he's been offered. So it's a pipeline thing, and it's just talked to about a half a dozen other high school coaches in Florida, and they're just really impressed with how Tom Allen works. They're really impressed with the 6 full-time coaches who are down here working Florida, and so they have Florida kids and Indiana kids account for 60% of this roster right now, and it's a real important part of what they've done to get better. And so I'm looking forward to this big special 4-part series. It'll launch at noon on Sunday, and then one a day every day, and then we'll go from there. And then we'll get ready. By Thursday, we'll get ready for game time.
There's a great quote that in meeting with Casey Teagarden, one of the DB coaches for Indiana, he was talking about what Tom Allen has done down there. And he told a story of actually, he's from down there, by the way, South Florida, but
yes.
Talked about riding around, and he was listening to the I think it was ESPN radio down there, and they were doing a story and talking about how Tom Allen, Indiana, has come down here and grabbed up 2 of the absolute best players right out from under the nose of Miami and Florida State and taking them up to Bloomington.
Absolutely, and it's a huge thing. It's like before, like when Indiana would grab a kid from Florida, a lot of times it was a 2-star or a low 3-star kid that none of the big schools in Florida really wanted anyway. Well, that's not the case anymore. I mean, Indiana is beating Florida State for recruits. Indiana is beating Miami for recruits. They're beating Florida for recruits. And even back at home now, like last year, 3 4-star recruits all from the state of Indiana, all beating Ohio State for one, beating Notre Dame for one. It's like that's what's going to matter in raising the talent level at Indiana is to actually go do that. And they've done it, and they've done it really through hard work. I mean, the coaches I've talked to so far are just so incredibly impressed, not only with Tom, but with, Mike Hart and Coach Hagan and Grant Hurd and, right on down the line. It's, they've just doing a really good job of building relationships. And, the coach this morning told me that was exactly, why CO committed to Indiana. He says, because they were there with him from the beginning. They offered with him first, and they never left his side. They were there all the time, and he even said today what he loves most about Indiana's staff is that he never even has to ask them ever about how his kids are doing up there, because they give him updates all the time, and they don't have to do that. And he says most college coaches don't. He said, but they're on the phone with me all the time. Coach Womack, Coach Hart, right on down the line, giving us updates on how these kids are doing and going on and on. And that's what matters in recruiting. You just have to have great relationships in recruiting, and and Indiana's done that. Now they just need to keep doing it and keep raising the bar and get as much talent on campus as they can.
Absolutely. Look forward to that coming out. Tom Brew of the Sports Illustrated Maven Indiana platform. You can find that at mavensports.io/Indiana or Tom Brew Sports on Twitter. Tom, I hope you enjoy your time in Florida.
I sure will, and I'll be back next week. It's game week, and I'm ready for the ball to get kicked off. Practice is fun, but games are better. I'm ready for it to get rolling.
Me as well. Safe travels, man.
Thanks, Jim. I'll see you soon.
You bet. Tom Brew from the Sports Illustrated Indiana Maven Network. Lots more coming up here on Indiana Sports Beat Radio. The Toddfather joins us next. We're back with more from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios right after this.
Singing the same old tune, and the times get harder. World's wait upon us, but it don't mean nothing, 'cause we're leaving soon, and so we cruise, baby.
Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
Now that warm weather has arrived, it's time to hit the links, and there's no better place than the Golf Club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. Voted best golf course by the readers of the Bloomington Herald-Times, the Golf Club at Eagle Point is under new ownership, has new fairways and bunkers, and it's open to the public. When the round's over, there's cold beer and a full menu at the Eagle Point Pub and Bistro. Call 812-824-1100 to make a tee time. That's 812-824-1100. The the golf club at Eagle Point in Bloomington.
This is AJ Moye.
This is Dan Dockett.
Hey, this is Michael Lord, former Indiana basketball player.
This is Indiana football coach Tom Allen.
This is Jim Coyle with the Indiana Sports Beat. You can always like and follow us on Facebook. Always follow the show rebroadcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. TheDailyHoosier.com is a great place to sign up for each and every day. Or, of course, on 97.7 The Ref in Evansville. For the best recycling and waste removal service, turn to the area's leader, Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling, a homegrown company serving southern Indiana since 1995. Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling serves Floyd, Clark, Harrison, and Washington counties. For excellent service and peace of mind, call Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling today at 812-944-5642. That's 812-944-5642. Keep life sweet with Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling.
I'm Rain Shaddy, and I'm a Hoosier. As a toddler, you could always find me running around in a cream and crimson onesie and a red IU hat reminiscent of those worn during the world-famous William Tell timeout, shouting, "Go Hoosiers!" Like many other alum, I chose to make Bloomington my home. As a civic and alumni leader, I have become very knowledgeable about our community and would love to share my insights with you as your realtor. Find me on Facebook or call or text me, Ryan Shaddy, with FC Tucker Bloomington Realtors at 765-623-9093.
This is James Blackman Jr., former Indiana Hoosier. Make sure you're keeping up with the Hoosiers on Indiana Sports Beat.
Today's guest is brought to you by Bubba's 33 in Clarksville with hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer. Pizza, burgers, beer. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Oh, it just makes me laugh. He's going to make you an offer you can't refuse. The Toddfather, Todd Leary joins us now. Todd, how are you, brother?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Just having a great goofy Friday, man. It just got better. My day is now complete. Todd Leary's with us. How's your week been, brother?
You know, it's been really good. Dodging rain all week, but it's been a good week.
Yeah, you guys had some. I was supposed to. My daughter had a soccer game down in Madisonville yesterday, but it was canceled. There's a pretty good storm come through there.
Yeah, but we've had about every night. We've had a pretty crazy storm all week, and we're getting poured on right now. So it's accumulating a little bit, but I think the ground needed it, and it will sure won't last long. Looks like we got a sunny weekend coming.
I'm sure that makes Pat Graham happy. Makes the fishing better.
I'm sure he likes this weather.
Yeah, it sounds about right. Sounds about right. Well, big news on the Indiana basketball front. Archie hired his latest assistant coach, a former Hoosier, someone that you're familiar with. He was, when you were doing your radio coverage, was on that team back in 2002. Didn't play a lot, but was on that team. There's been so many people, they want an IU guy. Get an IU guy. Well, they got an IU guy now. So we had Tommy Coverdale on yesterday, his former roommate as well. But what are your thoughts on that hire?
I think it's a great one. I think it's kind of funny, and I do the same thing. So I'm not I'm not judging fans who are this way, because honestly, I do the same thing in a lot of different regards. It's just because of IU, I feel like I know a little bit more about it. But whether a guy was a good player or not doesn't transcribe into whether he's going to be a good coach or isn't destined to be a coach. And this is in no way, shape, or form a diss on the fact that you mentioned that Mike didn't play a whole lot. And, that has zero impact on whether I think a guy's going to be a good coach or not. And, you look at some of the great coaches across the country, and I bet a lot of them didn't play a whole lot of minutes in college basketball. And, it's one of those things. I think that Mike Roberts was probably destined to be a coach his whole life. And a part of that journey and getting there was going through the battles and the struggles and everything that he did as a player, and had some great opportunities of being able to go and be at IU with Coach Knight, and then go to Texas Tech and be under Coach Knight. And I know he's a sponge and a guy that learned a lot from all of those different experiences that he had as a player and as a, whatever capacity he was in a coach. They give him different titles, but they're all assistant coaches, if you ask me about it. So I think it's a great hire. I think he's got a terrific personality. I think he's got a real similar personality to Ed Schilling, but he has that tie to the university. So, I mean, I don't see there could be a real negative to that hire at all.
Yeah, I agree with you as far as the not playing thing. I didn't mean to insinuate that, because you just look back at how many managers Bob Knight had that went on to become.
For sure. And I also didn't mean
NBA
to
coach
insinuate
even.
that you were insinuating that, and you didn't say that. I've had two people this week say something to me about it, and both times they made the comment of him not being a great player or didn't play very much, and that is so irrelevant to the fact of becoming a coach, in my opinion. So I've just made sure I jump down their throat every time I hear somebody say that. So I didn't want to leave you out and make you feel like I wasn't going to jump down your throat.
Thank you so much. I would not
You're
feel
welcome.
complete without it. Yeah, because look how many great players aren't good coaches. I mean, it does not correlate. It doesn't really matter, because the mental aspect of it's a whole different ballgame. But one of the things that sticks out to me, and especially after talking to Tom Coverdale yesterday, is one of the things that I think that he will instantly and desperately bring to this team is toughness, because that's something I haven't seen on this team for a couple of years. They just don't have that moxie that when I watched you guys play when I was in school and whatnot, that was a different, man, those guys, every one of those from 1 through 13, there was a ball on the ground, they're going to die for it. Don't see that. I haven't seen that lately.
Yeah, I mean, in all reality, just my opinion, but it's kind of a different time, and I don't think that you find very many teams where there's 10 or 12 or 13 guys that are willing to dive on the floor after the ball. I mean, guys they're just brought up a little bit different now than they used to be, but here's the thing. I think that I don't think there needs to be 12 or 13 guys that'll do that. I think there needs to be 4 or 5, and of those 4 or 5, those guys need to be on the floor a little bit. And you need to have 1 or 2 of those guys on the floor all the time. And that being the case, that's all you need. That will rub off. That's the Calbert Chaney effect. If they see somebody do it, they will do it. It's just I do think Robert Fennessy's that guy for Indiana. I think he is. I think he would do anything he had to do for Indiana to win, and I think that will rub off, and I think that there'll be other guys that will follow him. I think after his freshman year, I think now there'll be people follow him, and there'll be more of him. But I think Mike Roberts will help in the aspect of getting more guys that are like that. We're never going to have 12 or 13 again that'll be that way. I don't think any team's going to have that. But having 3 or 4 or 5 of them that play some minutes and are big contributors to leadership and affecting the other guys on the team, I think Mike Roberts will do a fantastic job in helping accumulate guys that are that way.
Yeah, Trey Galloway is a player that quickly comes to mind along that line of thinking that you're talking about right now. I think he's going to be one of those guys.
I definitely think that he's going to be one of those guys. I mean, this is a basketball kid grown up in a basketball household and eats, sleeps, and drinks basketball, and is a really good kid. And we're kind of from the same cloth here with you and I, and a lot of Indiana fans. We're not separate from a lot of Indiana fans. They're this way, but they want that guy who's a real nice guy, except for when you get on the court. And when he gets on the court, he's a gigantic asshole. And that's why I love Tom Coverdale, because he's a great guy to talk to and all that, but then you get on the court and he'll smash you right in the face in 2 seconds. And that's the kind of guy that I wanted to be. And that's the kind of guy that I want to root for in Indiana. And I do think, Mike will help get some more. That's the kind of guy Archie Miller was. That's what I've been saying since the day they hired him. I'm excited about Archie Miller because that's the kind of guy Archie Miller was. I mean, he was a mean, nasty little pit bull. I mean, you didn't want to fight against him to up and down the court, and I want him to get some more Archie Millers.
Did we lose him?
I'm here.
Oh, there you go. I thought we lost you for a second. Perfect. Yeah, I agree with you, and I agree with you in the fact that it's a kind of a different era, and I've talked about that. Usually, that doesn't always change with sports, because sports is sports, man. But there are still, you can see the slight change in some of the kids today, and especially with them looking out for their brand and all that business. So, but
yeah, and the sport itself has changed. I mean, the sport has become a sport of bigger, more athletic guys. I mean, there's not as many 6'2" unathletic guys playing in Division I college basketball as there was when I had the opportunity. Thank goodness. And so it has changed. There's no doubt about it. And I would say there's more 6'2" pit bulls in Indiana than there are 6'7" or 8" pit bulls. So, the sport itself has changed, and the players are a part of that. But I think there's still that many guys around. They just end up going to different schools. They don't get recruited by the high Division I's like, fortunately for me, they did when I was in school.
Yeah, and talk about Mike Roberts again. He another thing I think that he brings to this team is he is happy beyond belief to be there. I mean, everybody's happy when they get a job, no matter what. But there's extra for him. So he's probably going to work that much harder because this is a place he wants to be. This is not a stepping stone other than potentially becoming a head coach someday, I'm sure. But other than that, he wants to be in Bloomington.
Yeah, no doubt about that. I mean, you can, you can look at guys that have opportunities to go places and do whatever. I think Mike's one of those guys that if you gave him the opportunity to go to Duke as an assistant right now or to come to here, I still think he would pick here. And there's not a lot of people that you'd put in that category, rightly so. I mean, they don't have that history and heritage of being at a certain place. I think Mike would make that choice of being at Indiana. He's an Indiana guy from the state of Indiana, played at Indiana, and he has that Bob Knight IU loyalty that I think a lot of people are looking for, including myself. Like I have that. I mean, even though Coach Knight and I might not agree with things all the time, I would, if he still today needed something or called me and said, "Hey, go do this," I'd do it. And that's my loyalty to him and my loyalty to the university. If somebody from the university called, Fred Glass called or Scott Dolson called and asked me to go do something, or Archie Miller, I'd do it in 2 seconds. And so that's the loyalty that we want back. I'm an Indiana guy from the state of Indiana, and I love Indiana University. And I think you can say all those same things about Mike Roberts. I think he's an Indiana guy. He loves Indiana University, and anything they're going to ask him to do that's going to benefit the university, he won't do.
Speaking of Archie, Tuesday night, he's going to be down in your neck of the woods. I'll be down there as well, and as will you, I think. He's going to be at Harrison High School at the Shoulders Family Commons speaking to whomever's there. So, again, folks, listen to us.
Do they not call that Calvert Cheney High School?
Not yet, man. Maybe it's the Calvert Cheney Court.
Calvert
Cheney Court. Calvert Cheney Court. How's that? That's a ring right there.
No, the whole school. They ought to name the whole city after him.
Where is he now? Is he in St. Louis still?
Yes, I think he just sent his youngest child off to college, so I think he's an empty nester now. And he is coaching for the, what do they call it, G League now?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's coaching for the G League.
Gatorade League. I think it stands for Gatorade League, doesn't it? For real?
It's Goon. I think it stands for Goon League.
Yeah, I think they got tired of calling it the D League, like it was right before F League.
Delete that out of this interview.
There's a couple things. Don't worry, we got Jake on it.
Yeah, please, thank you.
How you got your kids all moved in, man? I've been driving around Bloomington doing after football practice every day and whatnot this week. The kids are freaking everywhere like ants, man. Them stupid. There's one kid on a scooter. Those damn scooters. Those electric scooters that are everywhere?
Yeah.
Man, I almost hit one of them at the Memorial Stadium parking lot. I'm just driving through, and all of a sudden, boom, he just pops out. I'm like, man, y'all better get used to that, get a handle on that.
Students have the right of way no matter what. You should learn that by now.
Well, I remember. I forgot because it used to be me.
Yeah, I know. It used to be me too, but they don't. Half the time they cross the road, they don't even look. But yes, answer to your question, I have got my son moved in there. He is all ready to go. He doesn't seem as excited about classes to start as he was to hurry up and get down there and get away from us. So I don't know what to think about that, but I know he's excited for another year down there.
Looking for what year is he now?
Sophomore.
Well,
if we're going academic credit wise, he's probably an 8th grader, but he's in his 2nd year. Let's put it that way.
Is he on the Todd Leary program?
Hey, you know what? I'm proud to say I made it through in 5 years. I think I needed every minute of those 5 years. 4 years, those guys are impressive to me.
Hey, man, if I can get it done, it may have taken me a decade. I can't remember, but I enjoyed every second of it, man. I was like, I don't want to leave. It was like Matthew McConaughey and Dazed and Confused, man. Why leave?
He is taking that same approach. I can assure you of that.
Brother, I appreciate it. It's always a pleasure to have you on, man. I hope you have a great weekend. I hope you got big plans. I hope it stops raining. And I guess we'll see you on Tuesday, right?
Hey, I will be there. I look forward to seeing you, buddy.
All right, brother. Have a great weekend, Todd. Todd Leary, the Toddfather, with us, as always, man. Always look forward to having Todd on. Just a great, great conversation. Great dude, and nobody more in tune to the comings and goings of IU, especially IU basketball, than our good friend Todd Leary. Man, it has been a fan-freaking-tastic week. Jake's got to get busy doing some editing for the radio broadcast. But man, what a fun day it's been. Todd, of course, with us just then. Before that, we had Tom Brew on, and that article he's got out in regards to the IU football game week move. But actually, don't forget about that series he's got. That's a pretty cool series on the pipeline that IU football and Tom Allen has forged from Bloomington to Florida. Looking forward to that. Had Kevin Brockway on earlier. He's got a great piece out right now in regards to the facilities arms race in the Big Ten. Is Indiana doing enough? There's a lot that you see that they're doing right now, but the funny thing is that was them trying to catch up. But while they're catching up, the other teams keep going. Northwestern, Illinois, all these teams, Purdue, they're all got new shiny facilities. They maintain that's 2 steps in front of Indiana. Again, you're seeing some nice stuff, but that's just Indiana catching up, but they're not caught up. They're still 2 steps behind. That's a great piece. Go out and check that out as well. Also, don't forget what we're trying to do with the big brothers and the big sisters. If you know anybody or if you have access to football tickets, minimum of 2, please. We're doing a great program. We're going to give a great day to some of these kids in the Big Brothers and Big Sisters program. We're going to tailgate. We're going to do it all. And you're more than welcome to join us. If you got 4, give us 2, and you keep 2, but come out and have fun with us. Anything, but you can reach me on social media. You can hit the text line, 812-269-6367. Thanks a lot for all of our texters today, by the way. You can also find me on Twitter, @JimCoyle_ISB. That's short for Indiana Sports Beat, by the way. Hit me up there. It doesn't matter. It's open. You can find me, all of that as well. So just a great, great week. Man, it's been fun. Nate Snyder getting a scholarship from Tom Allen, Indiana football. Great deal. If you haven't seen that video, go watch it. I'm sure you can find it on Facebook if you're not on Twitter, but it's on Twitter everywhere. Pat McAfee, what a great deal that was. Soccer, Saturday night. At Armstrong Stadium, the men's soccer team takes on DePaul. I think that's at 8 o'clock. The women's volleyball program kicks off things with a Cream and Crimson scrimmage at Wilkinson Hall Saturday night. Doors open at 6 with a meet and greet, free ice cream to the first 500 folks. Archie Miller's going to be down at Evansville Harrison High School this Tuesday. Doors open at 5:30 Central Time. For that event. It's free to the public. You can get in there, no problem. Someone asked earlier, and I'm sorry I missed that about the scrimmage, the football scrimmage this weekend, if it's open. No, it is not. They are keeping things very, very close to the vest as they gear towards naming the starting quarterback. I expect that to be done Monday at the the first regular scheduled press conference of the season. They'll be taken care on Monday. And on Monday, Don Fisher starts his weekly run with us. So looking forward to that, man. I can't wait. Don Fisher will be with us on Monday. Make sure you're back with us then. Until then, for Jake, I'm Jim Coyle from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios. This is Indiana Sports Radio, and I will see you on the radio.